And we're back. I just spent a good 45 minutes ranting at Daniel about the state of pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything.
And our plan for fixing it, which we will get to um, soon. Soon. Let's pray. God, I just thank you for Daniel, Lord, for his patience with me. I pray that he's learning a few things along the way, or at least being entertained. And I pray that um, we would fulfill all of your dreams for us as individuals, as a company, um, as a community, as families. Lord, I laugh, I scream, I cry. But at the end of the day, God, I want to be your man, just like Daniel wants to be your man. And David's moving in that direction too. And we've at least succeeded in giving him a vision of what he can be. And we're sharpening our own visions of what we need to be. And that's all we ask for, God, is that you would continue your work of making us who we need to be so we can accomplish your purposes in the world. We know that that's where our happiness is, where our security is, where our family's prosperity is. We thank you that we're in this bizarre situation where the best way to pull that off is to create something valuable that makes a ton of money. And so we ask for that just to pull it off so that people see it as credible and reliable, even though the money is in some sense the least important part of it, though it is still really important. And so we just release that to you, and we ask for a viable business, and a viable business model, and we thank you, God, that we have the incredible privilege of doing this with really cool technology, that this is an amazing entry point into really changing the culture of technology, of startups, and our clients who are facing various dysfunctional code bases and organizations. Lord, we just relish the chance to go in there and bring your light and your life. And I just feel like in the next month and a half, we've got to get a toehold, a bootstrap, a foothold where we can say, yes, this will work. We can do this, and have other people believe it. So God, help us use the time between now and then, whether it's marketing or technology development or ranting and vision casting or emotional bonding, whatever it takes, God. Help us to get to a place where we can make your dreams come true for us and really bring light into a dark place. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Syntax, that was the title theme. I think that is actually appropriate. The hypothesis that I'm driving on is that most organizations and technology actually plays a pretty heavy syntax. And that the dysfunctional relationships and the hidden secrets are what slows us down massively, right? It's like technical debt. It's spiritual debt. And if we take the time to pay off our spiritual debt, we ought to be able to move incredibly fast relative to others.
I applaud you for one of your most many-layered puns yet.
Thank you. I think.
Well done.
Thank you. One of my great joys in life is my son, 6 years old, loves puns.
Oh, good.
Yes. He will say, more puns, more puns. I will tell you these, Rohan, just so you know, not everyone will appreciate the skill that I am teaching you.
No.
All right. So syntax, you've got a branch I should be looking at?
Actually, now I'm really glad that you actually called the time that you did, because can you give me controls to share to everyone?
Oh, yeah, right. Why can I not just say, always trust you?
You came at a good time, because I actually started just trying to implement the char class. I ran into some issues.
Okay.
And that is the overriding of the each body method onto a child instance.
Correct. So, yes. Well, first of all, okay.
So here's where I'm at, right? We have this swan car.
Right.
and it's each body, instead of iterating over, each of the body, it should literally just return itself
Why?
because it's only one character.
So why are we overwriting each body?
Because that's what you said to do. You said each body yields itself.
Right, that's the result I want. So why not just make the new world body bracket car? Oh, you would have to be able to create it. Can't you just make its body an array that contains itself?
Huh?
Just make its body an array that contains itself. Body equals bracket car. Yeah. Update if you want to use the API.
You mean like that?
Yeah, chr.update cur.
That will that not cause infinite recursion?
Not
Did that just work? I think that might have just worked. Which is kind of frustrating because I really didn't think that would work. Just the ability to do recursion like that in JavaScript is mind-boggling for me.
Well, the thing is, it's just another. That's the thing. It's not recursion in the code sense.
Right, it's just a reference to itself.
Right. Now, if we print out CHR, we have to worry about that.
Well, you can't, you could try, you can't string it, you can't stringify it at that point. Do like a...
Well, I think you would have to make the default stringify behavior to be something like, you refer to things by name after.
Right, this is all I mean. I mean, JSON stringify will throw an error if it's a circular structure.
Right. Is there a way to override the to JSON to make it smarter?
So, I don't know, let's see. Well, no, because I think there actually is, but the problem is that our inheritance mechanism wouldn't work well with it, right? Because if you were to set it, you'd have to set it on every instance.
Because, well, if it matters that much, we change to JSON in world to do like do is, where it calls up to the God object, right? We basically do I think it's called a trampoline, where it bounces. Basically, the way that do works here is, right, the JavaScript do method just calls the Swan do method.
Okay. Actually, yeah, I guess that's fair. That's a good idea. So you could just do this to JSON equals get to JSON this, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then God can define, to JSON world as, I don't know.
Well, the default would be just would actually just be itself, right? World.toJSON.
Right. That's fair. And then you could do, let's see, will this work? To JSON, wait. Well, no, we can't override it exactly, right? We have to name this something else. No, we have to name this something else.
Right, to underscore JSON or something, or 2J.
Oh, 2J, that's good. That would fit with our, want to do 2J or 2JSON?
To JSON's probably a lot clearer.
JSON. Okay, and then we could do here to JSON.
Body 0 to JSON, right? That's redundant. With the this is the thing that's a little weird. Where do we actually store the character that we care about?
Where do we store the character we care about? In the body.
So underscore body is there. We don't actually use it. No, but then we reset it, right? We just updated the body to be something else.
Yes.
So it's worth thinking about the right idiom we want to use for the. Is that the raw value?
I have no idea what that is, honestly.
What is?
That, like this, like what, how you would get back to the original. I mean, you could.
Right. Well, so I think the thing is that so let's go back to the world. So the whole indirection with at underscore body, rather than just having it be a body value, feels a bit weird.
Right.
So can we just change that to body?
Well, the only reason that it's worth keeping the weirdness is because it's sort of JavaScript sort of.
It is private.
For this is supposed to be private. Please don't touch it, even though you can.
Okay. So I think what we want is something like underscore value or underscore contents we're using for a lot of other things. I mean, that's not a good word, but like underscore value. Well, no, sorry. I mean, I think keeping that as body is fine. Sorry, I didn't mean that in this context. I'm saying that in the Swan car, we set underscore value to car.
Okay.
That's the internal value. And then it just becomes underscore value to JSON. Or at underscore value to JSON. World, yeah.
I wonder, let's see if that'll work. It still suggests that it is circular. But let's look at it real quick.
Stringify string. So what is it calling? Who's calling what?
Body. Oh, well, because body is still circular, so it can't.
Who's calling body? So where is body being called is the question.
Well, I mean,
so
by default, that would be called by the toJSON method.
Do you actually know that it's calling our new toJSON, by the way? Did we get all those pieces correct?
Hold on.
The console login toJSON function. The toJSON overridden method. Should we be calling toJSON on or JSON.stringify on it?
If it has a toJSON on it, then it should use it. So world.toJSON, it does have. Let's console. Oh. Okay, so it does have a toJSON.
And it's calling it?
I've noticed some weird.
Can you call string.toJSON directly, by the way?
Huh?
Is there a reason you can't just call string.toJSON directly to see what it does?
We could.
Sorry, the body yielding itself, is that what it's doing? No. Where are we dying on?
toJSON is failing.
Can I see the error message?
Looks like we're getting maximum call stack size exceeded.
That's in each body. Do you know which line it's on that's doing it? Is it actually on the...
This one.
We got a bunch of stuff in there. Can we pull that into a separate toJSON method just so I can distinguish the two?
Sure.
Actually, do we even need to... If it's actually a string, can we just return the value, not even call toJSON?
Okay, so that one is, let's see, so string.toJSON.
Oh, wait, this is a string or a car? Where are we at?
Oh, we're looking at car. My bad.
Just a
Right. Car.
replace. Okay.
This is also a. Okay. Uh,
Letter was what you were calling it or something?
right. Letter. Uh, okay.
You still have a few stars sticking around there.
Yeah, you're right.
You're not a big fan of global search and replace?
Uh, I am, and I was just using it, but um, it was the.
Okay, so where's letter defines before call, after call? Like,
No, it's just right here. Now it's these references to string. There we go. Okay, we're back to what we were.
okay.
So let's see. Let's see if this is getting called. Doesn't even look like it made it there.
Yeah, I'll put it on. I'll put a console log on the that there just to.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, it's getting called forever.
Yes, it is getting called forever.
Um, JavaScript doesn't interpret two underscore JSON, does it?
No?
Okay. So
Um,
okay, so it's being called, and when we get there to JSON, we should be getting.
oh, well, this
That's not getting called.
circular. This is circular right here,
World touch JSON.
right? Because
Oh
this,
no, but right, but we shouldn't be calling that. We should be calling the other two JSON instead of Swan car.
right. No, we
Oh,
should,
that is already right. That
no,
should be.
right. We shouldn't be using in the specific implementation
Yeah, oh, yeah, right.
of Swan car. We should never hit this,
Oh,
but
yeah,
this is circular.
yes, you're right. That's really bad.
So,
That should be world. Let's call it make underscore body dot to JSON or something for now.
okay.
But is that being called? Do we know?
It looks like it is not finding this.
Oh, wait, right. So the yeah.
It's not actually calling that one.
Is it calling the other one?
Oh, wait. I never set the up. That's why.
Oh,
Or is it? It's capital up, right?
no, no, no. Lowercase up is the property. Uppercase up is the uh, wrapper.
So, like here, should I be setting lowercase do?
No, I don't. No, because when you're mocking it out, you're mocking the method. So uppercase do is the method on the JavaScript object. Lowercase do is the Swan property. So I think that's correct.
Okay. To equal. There. Okay, no, that's working now.
Yay. Save it.
Yes. Where's my console log, though, that I don't want? I am noticing some very sort of bizarre. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that Flubits was running or something, but I'm having really bizarre behavior with Mocha not reloading my files properly
I'm getting weird Mocha errors. I'm meaning to ask you about that.
during watch. So that's pretty weird.
I get actually. So is there a version or a branch I can check and see what you're currently seeing
Yeah, let me push
for
this,
System Master?
and then you can pull down. Um, create syntax.
Do a git pull origin slash create syntax or git checkout?
Yeah.
Sorry, which one?
Create dash syntax.
Sorry, do I do a git pull or a git branch? What's the right?
In git master, like in master, do a git pull,
Okay,
and
the git pull, and
then
then
you'll be able to do git checkout create syntax.
origin slash create syntax or just checkout syntax?
Nope, just checkout create syntax.
Okay, great, thank you.
And
And
then try running make test.
I just run make, I get cannot find modules dot dot slash source slash world. I do make test, I get the same error.
Can you share your screen with me?
Sure.
Cannot find source world. That looks like it's coming from spec.
Dot. So somebody's in the wrong.
Or Mocha ops. Or Swan copy. Syntax spec. Huh? Can you run make test one more time? Let me see the output. It's coming from syntax spec. Oh, you know what? Maybe the version of syntax spec that's up there is like really different than what I have here, because I know I don't have that one checked in because my changes have been. Let me look at what is it. That's probably what it is.
Are we up, is the code clean enough that we can just actually just do a full purge and push everything to master?
Not really. It's in a pretty limbo state right now. But
Okay.
let me at least commit that fix to the syntax right now.
Okay. Because I was having the same error on master too, so the whatever
Right.
that is.
Okay. Try do another git pull and see if you can.
On still on the origin branch.
Yeah, and create syntax, and then try to make test again.
Way much better.
Okay.
Happiness.
I did have a serious issue. I've something went weird between me using Sublime and Vim because there was an error, and it was like Vim was showing that something was indented correctly, but it was actually indented improperly, and that broke the copy script.
Ooh.
So I'm not sure what happened there, but anyways, I will try to figure that out.
Minor rant. I have a. If we actually succeed in turning, if we define Swan as a document, as a programming format instead of programming language, there will be a canonical representation. Like, if you write this code, this is what you indent, this is what's on one line, this is what it is, and it's just always correct. Because otherwise, it's just such a pain. It's like, make the decision once, we'll just live with it for the next 100 years.
Yeah. Honestly, the indent stuff and the lack of end in CoffeeScript is my least favorite thing about it. It's the most frustrating thing to me. I really don't actually like it. I like end characters. I like Ruby's end the best. JavaScript's end bracket or brace, I don't know what is the right word for that, is sometimes not enough. And I know that even though END can be verbose, it sticks out really well when you look at code, and I feel like it makes things look clean.
You think it sticks out better than a brace does, huh?
I mean, it's 3 characters.
Right, so it's a little thicker.
Yeah.
Braces.
I think I also really like how it just matches up with def, because that's usually what you see it with. def and end are both 3 characters.
Remarkably well, yeah.
They look right with each other, and it's like I feel like in this I have these indent guides on because otherwise I get lost in.
Oh yeah, you need any guides anyway. But yeah, although I wonder if the def end thing that might just be also massive repeated use. I grew up in C, so braces stick out to me better.
Maybe, yeah,
I do agree the def end looks nice, but it doesn't feel quite as natural to me. But
sure.
anyway,
Point being, I like end, whatever it is, even if it's bright, even if
that's a point because I mean, white space and everything is nice, but there is something to be said for being explicit.
yeah.
All right, so where are we? We've got a build. So the build's working. What's and so we have specs here. So actually, most of the other things should. Actually, let's talk about what should for Swan Car. What should do create? It seems like
That's the reason this is all weird because I copied this from string.
Sorry.
The reason that there were all those references to string is because I copied it from string.
Right. But it's your question. What should? So there's 2 possible interpretations. One is that you increment the car like an integer. The other is that you concatenate it. But if you concatenate it, you would not get a Swan car back. You get a Swan string.
Right.
So that raises the question. This actually argues to me that maybe we should go back and think through, implement our syntax parser first. Because if we really don't care whether something is a string or a car, then maybe we don't really want 2 different things.
Okay.
Because I'm having a hard time convincing myself why is a car different than a string
Right.
if it's not an integer.
Yeah. That's fair. Okay, so the only thing that was making sense to me was simply that the idea of swan string dot each. Actually, you know what? It is fine. I don't know. I was feeling funny about swan string dot each yielding a bunch of swan strings, but really, I guess that's what I would expect if you were gonna iterate on any string. I would expect it to return single characters.
Right. JavaScript the only thing we have are. I mean, it's
Right.
like if we call toInt on them and get integers out.
Right.
That would be the other way to do it. Right. It's a Swan byte. Right.
Yeah.
Car is actually actually let's play with that idea for a little bit. Right. You could get the ASCII or Unicode
Mm-hmm.
integer value associated with that character. Right.
Right. But how would that help?
Sorry.
How would we could, but really, what does it do? Like, how does it help?
Right. The only reason that helps is if you have ranges and you're doing manual regex, which is not, which has a certain aesthetic purity to it, but is not really all that important.
Okay.
If we needed, I mean, at some point we're going to want integers anyway. What is JavaScript's number type?
I think it actually does differentiate between floats and.
Is it? I think it's like double an integer, or
I don't know. Let's look. So 1 is a number, and 1.1 is a number. Yay!
Okay. So everything is just a number? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So they just have a number.
Yep.
So I guess that if this is a shim, then we're really just shimming the JavaScript native types, right? And all we have is basically string and number.
Yeah.
And so I guess the question is, so yeah, either it returns an array of strings now, or it returns a. Now, the argument for making an array of numbers is actually precisely to avoid the infinite recursion problem, right? Because if you have a Swan string, so what is the Swan string? The body of that.
The body of a Swan string?
Yes, the body of Swan string is of length 1.
Is a single character, right?
Well, what does that mean? Right. So, sorry. Currently, right now, we have this weird little recursion thing going for a character. If we said that the individual bodies of a Swan string were actually, Swan numbers, then you don't have that question. That is the C-like way of. I guess that's the other advantage of doing it that way, is you have a nice separation of types. And really, the syntax doesn't really care. It just needs something that you can compare against a pattern.
Yeah.
I guess that almost forces the question: does it make more sense to express these things as, true regexes, which is kind of heavyweight, but then again, JavaScript does have regexes for free as part of the language, right?
Yeah.
As everyone does these days. Well, I'm not fond of regular expressions. Like I said, if it's concise and it works, then that's the simplest thing to do. It just does raise a question when I create a Swan string, what I would be doing is I'd be splitting it and then mapping that through the Swan car constructor.
Right.
And then, which is fine, except that, oh no, this would be perverse. You could tell do that when you append onto this, when you append onto the body, that you change the type to a Swan string. But you'd have to change the type and the up, which is probably more perversity than I'm willing to sign up for.
Yeah, that sounds pretty bad.
You would want to actually do it the other way around. Is you would want to make it copy on right, in that if you have a Swan car and you append to it, you here's a thought. What if we actually treat this as atomic? So when we push onto, this is actually not a horrible idea. It may be a stupid idea, but it's not horrible. Is that push, right? Do just calls push, correct? So normally when you append onto a string, it makes the string, it adds another element onto the body array, correct? Right? I mean, just
Yes.
behavior, yeah, which is what you expect. But what if you want a multi-byte character? Essentially a compound character. What if we say is that we actually append onto the value?
Sure. I mean, I guess you could.
We treat it as an atomic unit, right?
Sure.
We just override push to append onto the value. I mean, at least it's consistent. And it may not be used very often, but at least we have at least it's not ill-defined so that it would be excessively confusing if we do need to do something with it.
Sure. Well, but then we have to do that whole God thing here to get that to work properly.
Yeah. So this raises another interesting. There is no method missing, right? No property missing in.
Can we get method?
Oh, actually, we should probably do it this way. Push should be defined the same way. We do override, right? Do is already overridden.
Do's overridden.
We just override do then to append a value.
Okay.
That's the least effort to move past this, since this is probably more distraction than it's worth.
Okay.
So we world.value, right? Yeah.
Um,
That's how you append strings.
yeah.
Because value concatenation, to be precise, or slightly more.
Perfect. Value.
The letter is he. You actually already had a compound letter in there.
Yeah, but we reset the letter back to the original letter after every test.
Oh, I see. So it's already A. So you're just checking A. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you make that add B for me just because?
Sure. Okay, that's going okay. 2JS returns, let's see. Do we have 2JS in here? No, we don't.
Should we just call it to JSON for now?
Well, but I mean, this is just in the world, right? So it's I don't know what.
So, I mean, if we have to JSON, do we actually need 2JS? Is probably a better question.
No, I guess not.
Let's just drop the spec for now, and then we'll worry about it when we actually have a
You
use.
want to call it 2JS then instead of 2JSON?
No, because actually it is kind of nice. I don't know yet. I think let's just leave it like it is for now.
All right. But we do want 2S definitely, so that we should put here 2S get what underscore 2S.
I would do two capital JS. I would do two capital JS for the method name, and then two lowercase JS for the property. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, 2JS. I thought we decided we weren't going to worry about 2JS. We were going to do 2S.
Right. I'm sorry. You want to do it like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it would be more consistent to make it 2S without the underscore to look like to JSON, but I don't know if that's worth it.
Well, it depends.
2_s. Sorry, 2_s should be generating a Swan string.
Okay.
That's what we intended to be. But we don't really know how to generate a Swan string.
Not yet.
I think actually, ha 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 ha. Is that right? Yeah, I guess that's a safe way to do it for now. So actually, let's think about this for a second there. Well, first of all, why do we have to override it? Do we not just get the right thing automatically?
What do you mean?
So what do we expect S to be in general?
Well, 2S.
What does toString do on a dictionary?
I think it just returns a string. That. Nothing helpful at all.
Yes, exactly unhelpful. So actually doing the stringified version of the JSON is probably going to be better. In which case we shouldn't need to override it. Stringify. So Swan string of the to JSON, yeah. Or yeah. Stringify actually, right? Wouldn't it be JSON stringify world?
Sure.
Then we don't need to override it, right? We're already getting what we want.
Yeah.
Cool.
But it's saying it doesn't have a two. I don't know why it's not reloading my string is not defined. No. To the
Right, yeah.
should return a world. Problem is we don't have a Swan string method yet.
Oh, okay. This is a good time to do Swan string. And what we want the body to be is actually Swan cars for each of those, right?
Yes, but that there. So our test for the car is actually passing right now.
Yay! All right, check it.
Okay, so
Actually, I think with that, I think you can get Swan string up pretty quickly. In the interest of time, I was wondering if we can go ahead and jump into syntax and just take a first stab at either the specs or the implementation.
sure. Okay, syntax.
And by the way, what's keeping you from checking this into master?
Nothing. I mean, the only thing really is that we haven't accomplished our original goal of doing anything with syntax. But
Okay. The branch naming is embarrassing. There we go. Are you going to create syntax or create car?
I should be in create car.
There we go.
It's not going to work. It's okay. Eventually, it is my dream to actually respect Travis,
Oh, I see.
right? Like, because it'll do that on every pull request, and it'll say, not sure, if this isn't passing.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's passing, we shouldn't be taking
Branch.
what the.
You gonna be adding all these flues to
Hmm?
Vola?
What about flu?
I see all those flu turds.
Oh yeah.
And string spec we haven't added yet?
No. Okay, okay, cool. But I should add that.
Whoa.
Should add that file.
But what happened with all of our merging? Are we actually in a happy place now? Master? Yes, so create car was merged in, it just broke Travis.
Yeah, but that's okay. I knew
Now,
it
I'm
was.
not seeing the create syntax branch anymore.
Oh,
That's been fully merged in, or
I'm recreating it.
I see,
I'm
whatever.
like giving it a fresh start to go after creating the syntax.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Good. By the way, I think Daniel, given the uncertainty about your availability, it would be really good to have a goal of pushing into master by the end of the day. So that
Yes.
you're spontaneously, I don't say, wait, is this branch good? Is it bad?
Yeah. No, you're right. That is a good point, and I will do my best to try to keep. Normally, I'm way better at committing often and pushing often. It's just the beginning of projects is hard for me because, like I said, nothing is really anything
Yeah.
until some sort of foundation of what's going on. It's hard to feel like you have any ability to keep track.
Okay, so this is our syntax moots. And okay, the most interesting thing here is uh, actually the debug function, right? And is that actually going to be, can I get JSON that looks like that? Will that compare against JSON?
That is not valid JSON because JSON is always an object at the top level. Wait, no, that's not true. It can, yeah.
So to make that, so there's two ways we can go. One is we can try and flesh out the functionality. The other is actually thinking through actually what we want our debugging to be, which might actually be useful before we get into this. Right now, we already have a really crude to JSON.
Right.
Just takes the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you actually want is that the what do I actually want it to be? What if we made it actually? What if we do them around? We make our to JSON basically the. Oh, this is perverse. Well, no, actually, no. In general, you want it to actually be. You want to know the type and the body. Let's say that's the most important thing.
For to JSON.
For to JSON. So our God to JSON.
I feel like that's a. Oh, okay. So what you'd really want is type world.type body world.body, right?
Yeah.
As your reasonable defaults.
And when it does that, it should stringify body like we were seeing before, right?
No. We can tell it to do that.
Okay. And that will call recursively as appropriate.
Yeah. Well, like our to JSON on.
We'll override. We should change our to JSON for scar to be more.
Right.
Unless we want to, yeah. Unless we want to make it to body JSON, that's the thing that we override. But
now, see, I actually think though that to JSON, well, I feel like to JSON should actually return the body, right? That is the essence of the object, and debug should return body. Like, I would suggest something more along the lines of, like this, where we return, type world.type body equals
Oh,
world to JSON.
body is world.body to JSON.
Nope, world to JSON.
So wait, the whole contents of the.
What I'm suggesting is that the body, like to JSON, returns like the essence of the object in JavaScript as a JavaScript object, right?
The essence of the object, meaning when you say the essence, you mean the entirety of the object.
When I say the essence, I mean the JavaScript representation of it. And the JavaScript representation of a Swan string is a JavaScript string.
I see.
The JavaScript representation of a Swan car is a single character. Whereas debug, you can actually, or maybe inspect or something.
Okay.
More information on it.
Yeah, I'm not. I think inspect is probably better than debug, frankly. I don't know if there's a better name for it. If there's a two, it's two something other, but yeah. Okay. I guess, yeah. Okay.
But then, so let me ask a question now. Is there a nicer way to do this? This pattern is cool. Like, it's working. I'm totally good with what it's doing right now. But I feel like the name, like already our naming conventions are
Painful.
pretty confusing.
Yes. There's only two things. So if this is Ruby, it'd be trivial, right? Method missing.
Right.
And you make it consistent.
Let me keep. You talk, I'll listen and read.
Right, there's two different. Right. That's one way to do it. Second way to do it is to create like a macro where it's doing it. The third way to do it, if we're going to be doing a lot more of these things, then finding some way to automate it makes sense. If there's only a few of these things, the hypothesis is that for the shims we have to worry about this, but for normal stuff we shouldn't, because once we're everything as a world, we can just use our existing machinery. It's only at the leaves, the edges of the tree, that these things become important. If it is the case that only the shims have to care about this, then I will appear to contradict my earlier position and say those are actually things where it does make sense to have a subclass of world.
Okay.
In that, in this case, we want to override the methods because this is hacking the runtime.
Okay.
The normal objects are things that we create as swans, where we just create worlds and we do stuff with them. But we have a few special cases that are hardwired into our environment.
Okay.
And then we actually create Swan, car world, and that's the way we override to JSON. At this point, it's only these three, so it's probably not worth redoing it now. But if we find it, and the hope is to get that once the hypothesis is that once we get away from Swan car and we're doing more normal worlds, that we should be able to do everything in Swan and not have to worry about the JavaScript methods.
Okay.
Overriding things. If that turns out to be false, then we'll have to revisit a bunch of things. Like one option is, well, there's a bunch of options. Let's burn that bridge when we get to it. There's a code smell, I agree, and I'm not sure what the right solution is. The one simple thing I would do is make it 2S without the underscore, so it's more consistent with 2JSON.
Okay. We can have these JavaScript-y accessors.
Yeah.
Ruby-ish.
Do you have any other two underscore S anywhere? Right there, yeah.
Yeah. If we need
that should be in spec now, right?
What?
The file you were in syntax spec? or syntax.coffee. Yeah, syntax out dot inspect now, correct?
Right.
And it's Swan car rather than new Swan dot.
Where are you?
Going up a
Oh,
line.
yes, 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 yes. Except we don't actually have that. It's this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, um, I like the factory thing though, or I don't remember what you referred to it as, but I think it's sort of like a factory
Yeah.
for the shims if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
And my suggestion would be that the standard would be this is that, and then the internal one is just,
Oh, using underbar in front of it rather than a. Yeah, the reason I don't like that is that if we're primarily working in the internal space, then having all those underbars around is just going to get really annoying.
right. No, it's fair. I mean,
Especially if we're exposing that as an API, well, then that's maybe we're too far in the future. So anyway, valid point, valid code smell. We'll just let it live for now as part of our cosmetic debt or whatever.
right.
Aesthetic debt. And that should be a bunch of different its at that point.
All right. So, what are we doing with syntax?
Right. So let's just start riffing on specs. So creating syntax. So a syntax object, it should. We'll just assume that.
Syntax. Sorry, at the very first, same thing as the other ones, right? It's a method that returns a world.
Yes. And it returns a world. It takes an out parameter for its result. When it is called do with a Swan car.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Talking too fast for me. Out? You say?
Sorry, yeah, I was just doing the spec. I wasn't doing the implementation.
All right, sorry.
Method returns a world. It takes a out parameter. It is called with a Swan car. And it passes a there's a couple of different things going on here. So the idea is that, let me just talk through what it's doing. We call the syntax, we get a raw stream of Swan cars. We pass that to the syntax. The syntax passes a what? A characterized, what is the thing that's being passed? What do we call these? Didn't we make up names for these things somewhere in a previous incarnation? Is it in the wiki?
One here. Or in the wiki.
In the SSK wiki? Name syntax identifier syntax. All right, It generates a syntax instance. That's what we're calling it. Thank you. Those. Okay, yeah. Name syntax instance.
Right.
Right, and in some sense, that's kind of going to be the same as the out parameter. I mean, basically, it passes a syntax instance to out.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, the fact that it takes an out parameter is mostly meaningless. And then the specific syntaxes, elements that we care about. There's an interesting question of how much what granularity we should be worrying about here. And I guess the argument is that it should be everything, right? Is that if we know this, we should know everything. So this would be actually good to be in a flubits. Should I see if I can flubish?
Sure, I can get on a free bets. Maybe that's why I'm having issues. I still have flubits running.
See, do I got syntax spec? No, I don't have the current syntax spec up here.
No, you don't. I'm gonna upload everything.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Okay, so this is the. Okay, should we have a? Let's just describe. Right.
Where are you? Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Okay, hi.
In it?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm sure if I don't have to share my screen, right? You can see it'll show up on yours. Okay. It so it maps. Okay, terminology. Let's describe some of these things here. So there's the I'm not sure what the right way to describe these things are. Let me just put in comments for now. We'll convert it later, right? So we're calling these closure, right?
Right.
Could be something like closure syntax. Maybe it's worth filling it. This is how I think about it. As you pass the value, so you don't need to pass the value, you just need to label it with the type so it knows what it's doing. Um, well, I'll go with this conception, and then we can push back if it. Then we have. That was name syntax. The first thought is something like this as a mapping table.
Okay.
And it creates objects of those type. And, you know, something like folder. Okay. Right, because it seems like those things are each going to be fairly complicated. And so this is probably not the right final list, but it's probably a decent initial list.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know, so that'll be something like it passes in syntax for race. And things like that to kind of check that all these things are there. And
are you still editing the syntax spec file?
yeah, so you're not seeing it anymore? Where did you see the comments I wrote?
I see the comments you wrote. It sounds like you're still typing. I'm not seeing anything.
Line 30, I added an it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I
So
see it.
something like that. And so the syntax, the top level of the syntax object basically just does a regex and then throws along a instance of one of these syntax objects with a with the body set to the character.
Okay. Um, I feel like I don't know. There is this. I feel like it is confusing, and I think it might be worth finding a better name to somehow differentiate between syntax instances and the top level object, right?
Okay, how about this? So there's the thing that's weird about this um, is that I agree it is confusing. So let's talk through what these things are. The things that it's passing along. Well, let's call them element.
Okay.
Okay. What, is there an easy way to do multiple search and replace here, or do just copy and paste to be done with? Yeah, let's describe elements, right? So let's just go with that. Not saying you should use that name, but something like that.
Okay.
Passes a Does that seem straightforward?
Oh, Swan card passes elements to out. So when we say that, we expect that like it actually sends out .do,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Can you put a can you put a comment in there just for me?
Yeah, this will be like,
Okay.
it'll be, yeah. Let's just pseudocode it. It'll be like, look up element r match.
Didn't we write a bunch of?
Pseudocode for this?
Yeah,
Yes.
we did.
Actually, real code even somewhere, I think. I wrote up a bunch of elements.
You did.
Can you find them, or should we look for them now?
No, yeah, I have them. Here, I'll put the link in Hangout.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we don't go over now. So that's the idea. So the idea is, let's just talk it through from here. Is that all of these stages should be structured very similarly, in that they. This is the trivial one because it passes a element for each thing it's called. The difference with the other stages is that they will aggregate.
Right.
Right? They'll create a holder, and then, well, if it's a open close separator, and these are, it's actually probably worth calling this out. Um, these are. We have a word for this, right? These are the things that are, structural. I'm not sure if those are structural or not, but might be. These are sort of values. They're, closest one. Let's just call them aggregates because these white spaces in the middle. Not sure if that's structural or not. Right. The idea is the structural items are single character things that basically they force context switches.
Okay.
Changes. Either it creates a new context or it terminates an expression.
Okay.
Whereas the other ones, they basically aggregate up until their name and then it throws over to the next one. So, yeah, if we deal with this, we're actually fine, I think, for now. It gets ugly when you start introducing strings and quoting, but I don't think we have to deal with that right away.
Okay.
The goal is to get basically, rather than going deep, the goal is to go wide, is to basically get a couple of elements so we know what syntax does, and then build the lexer, and then build the parser, and then build the evaluator.
Okay.
Get one element all the way through the pipeline.
Okay.
So I think this would be a good place for me to leave you and let you hack on it, and I'll also do some marketing and business generation rather than having fun.
Okay. So I don't know. I just want to make sure I
Yeah, please.
this is a method that returns a world, and the world's up is syntax.
Yeah.
Okay. Takes an out parameter, passes elements 2 out when called with a Swan car. So each do with a Swan car, it will do out.do result. And so this was actually name element. And then if we were to do syntax.do Swan car, and then it was a white space, the next thing here would be white space element.
Yeah.
Right? Am I getting that right? It really doesn't. Our syntax is not smart. Really, it doesn't we're not doing aggregation at all. We're just basically checking to see what kind of character is this.
Yes.
And that's
right. It is a right, and then the lexer goes from there.
right. Okay. Yeah,
right?
I like that. That keeps this really simple.
Right. And the other thing that it does I realize it throws error some kind if nothing matches.
Oh, like if you throw in an elite well,
unknown, or maybe just say throws unknown element.
Okay. Okay. But then still, the aggregate are not really they will be aggregated by the lexer, but at this point, they're really not our problem. Not syntax's problem.
Yes.
What is it? Tell them what it is. Okay. Cool.
Right. And the way I was imagining implementing this is basically use each. So just the simplest thing was you just use each, and if it matches, you throw it. The thing is, you also need to somehow track if nothing is thrown. And if you're using each, you may want to have a Swan block.
What do you mean?
So each takes a world, right? It doesn't take a JavaScript function. So you may want to shim for a block, for a function, so that you say, I want to do a new Swan block with this function, and it creates a world with everything wired up. I mean, can you just do that trivially with the do?
I think I can do what you're describing.
So, because what do you pass when you have to create something? You pass into the each body method, right?
Yeah.
Um, is it worth creating a specific wrapper function for that takes a function, or do we just is that just new Swan world do colon world args and an arrow?
Um, I
Actually,
think just be do, or you could manually use each to use your own collection. Like right now, right, we have each body is a
it's,
like if this was string is
right. But the let me just look at world if I can do that without messing you up. Um, what we do for each is we're calling world.do, right?
right,
So whatever we pass, so the world has to be we have to pass in a world, not a function.
right.
And so we will need a way. So we're going to be doing each body, uh, you know, new world do colon function with these arguments a fair amount. So
Oh yeah.
right, so we need either we do a capital each or something that wraps all that, or we have a um, world block or something that just takes a function. I guess we go with wet, right? Do it the manual way first, and if after a couple times it gets annoying, then we wrap it up.
Oh sure. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just remember that each will take a world rather than a trivial block.
Right. I mean, one of the easiest things we could do is do just like we do with our car type thing and do like something that's, Swan method,
Like Swan block or Swan, yes.
Swan block, sure.
Yeah,
And it's a function that takes an actual function and
yeah,
returns, new world do equals function.
yeah,
That's pretty easy.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I think that's good. That should keep you busy for a while. If you feel inspired, you can start stubbing out the additional stages in the pipeline.
Okay. Great.
Tomorrow morning I should be around, so we'll pick it up then.
Fantastic.
Where are you here? Lost my screen. There we go.
Good
Ah,
talk.
how you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good. I mean, I feel like I've said this a bunch, but the longer that we work on this, I feel like the better sense I get for what in the world we're doing, and um,
And that's a good thing.
it is a good thing.
If you get a better sense for what we're doing and you get more depressed, then that's a disturbing trend.
No, I get a better sense of what we're doing, and small specific tasks make me feel happy and accomplished.
Good.
Right? If I can say at least I know that I did something, right? The syntax is working,
Yes.
then I feel good.
Right. So you have the syntax and the string to flesh out, and that should fill your accomplishment task for a while.
Yes.
Hopefully, we will move faster once we gain some momentum until we hit the next brick wall. So, okay.
Thanks, Ernie.
Thank you, Daniel. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
And remember, check in frequently.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.